Something bizarre just happened where we had to shut down for a minute, but it reminded me, our teacher here, Jessica, wonderful, wonderful lady, just walked in, and everything reminded me that I'm just going to say this outright. As a spiritual being, we'll always be subject from admonishment from friends or teachers or whatever, that maybe that, or we should check ourselves. Maybe we didn't understand that, or we're wrong. That's how I'm going to blurt it right out. And I'm going to say it for all of us right now, because it's an important point for our sanity as mystical spiritual presences that we all are, who are enjoying this beautiful day. And there is nothing more beautiful than this day. But around people, around even friends, lovers, family members from time to time, we're made to think we're wrong about this or that, and spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, I'm going to say it, I've never been wrong about anything. This is said for you for this meditation today. As a spiritual being, you'll never be wrong about anything in your perception. There's a quietude with spirituality where you look off into the endless horizon that we call God. It's a beauteous, quiet, calm, mystical presence. You always feel the availability to God's voice and presence through you to transmit, to heal, to help, to redirect, to correct, mostly just to care around the clock. And as a person in the world, from early schooling, you have to learn what a mortal wants you to learn. And that's an impossibility, because from birth, a spiritual person that we are, we're aware of this openness, an endless openness. There's a magnificent purity to this sensation. It transcends love. It's where love emerges from time to time from. It's the face of God, which is what beauty is, isn't it? The point being made about never being wrong, it's emotional, psychological, spiritual, and the power of that thought, that's within ourselves. We don't argue with anyone. We go, oh, because everything in the world, everything that brought us to this personhood of being this person in the world, has been conditioned by this force we call Satan. The world is infinitesimal, infinitely less than a subatomic particle. In contrast to the spiritual presence you'll feel that has no beginning and end, and it's just a spatial quality that's permanent, perfect, pure, and true. All spiritual people in the world are aware of this 24 hours a day, every moment of their life. And especially when we get this point where everything involves a conditioning from birth. We allowed ourselves to pour into this horribleness called the world, this construct. This is a hell. So in contrast to what we experience spiritually, it's not a big deal. We always feel this openness, this purity, this beauty. When I sit down at home in my chair, boom, the world never, as soon as I walk in the front door, it disappears. That's for all of us, right? That's why we make our home warm, inviting. You know, the idea of feng shui, my friend Denise Lin put a book together called, I guess, Spiritual Space. I forget the name of it anyway. But it's the idea that you keep recreating your space, moving things around so that you never block this flow of presence, of beauty, of warmth. It's human. It transcends the conditioning, right? So when you do this inside your mind, your emotions, my friend Dr. Gabori built a place, my friend Rosamond French, they taught there and I taught there, helped or learned, and it's part of the business. But it was just a place to train people to simply be interested in one another. So all of us being spiritual, we look at, like my friend Jessica here, or my teacher here, Greg, who does these videos for us. If we don't have a thought and we look at each other, in the eyes and the face in a very relaxed way. In other words, right now you can do or say anything to me and I'm not going to react to it, because I've trained myself to not react in the thought. And if you're across from a person and they have any thought at all, you're going to feel it, and it's like getting smacked in the face. That's why I talked about being with monks here or there, and you were my friend Frida Beatty, the abbotess in Tibet, my friend. Just look at each other, there's no one there, you don't feel another person. You're trained to just concentrate on a picture of Jesus or a Buddha or another friend. When you're in a group of monks, you're all aware of this, what's called the Pure Land, this openness, spiritual presence, transcendent of everything. The point getting back to it is this world is a hell conditioned by a force called Satan. So when you get to that point, you don't react to this thought, that thought, humans, time, space, even the beautiful things in your life. You let it all go. It'll become 10,000 times more beautiful, but lighter than air. It'll dissipate and disappear into the early morning winds. It's so wonderful to understand that you are as God is, and to transcend all of your conditioning, to not react to a hairline of any activity of this world. Makes sense? Like an atomic clock. Like there's so much movement in every second. I'm there now. You're near there. You're there now. And when you get here, this world, everything about it, from your birth to now, there is no life or death. It's all the Pure Land. It's an openness, of kindness, of warmth, of beauty. It's what you see in your baby's eyes. It's your mom's soul. What we all want is peace, kindness, love, purity, beauty. Sacred space was my friend Denise Lynn's book. And that's a way to have it in all of your life, where you move through things, nothing blocks you. This thing that Dr. Bodhi created, Institute for Reduction of Traumatic Stress, wrote books about it, and all utter geniuses. All these people, they're geniuses from all over the world would come by, and he'd have classes he would teach, and then you'd have combat veterans. We would sit and listen to their problems. So, in other words, the psychologists, they made judgments about them, but they had a judgment about the war, and they're talking to someone you feel that. So what we did is train the therapist to not think, feel, to not evaluate for the client, just be there quietly, like the monks, like Frida Beatty, the great nun. It's all like a mom does for the child. You're just there waiting to see what the child wants. So put yourself in that state before you meditate, reflect, contemplate, before you breathe in the morning. I'll speak for myself. I don't like to do this, but I'm moved to. It helps. I'd rather have where I sit across from someone, but right now we're doing it this way. You completely disappear. You don't relate to anything. Height, depth, warmth. Now that's why the heroic activity of people, when a mom taking care of a child, or talk about war situations, but it's all good people who get to that place. We know there's something transcendent of the body, of anything. You can go there. When you do it in perception, Dr. Gabodi taught, you disappear into the Pure Land. So the therapist is trained to not react whatsoever. And so someone that might have accidentally shot the wrong person in Vietnam or whatever, but we dealt with a lot of that. They can say it, because they're not judged for a second. They're allowed to. That's all they ever wanted to do, was to express it, was to say it somewhere, because they're holding it in for 15 years. So let the beautiful people in your life, you know the difference between that and the one that's a little bit of a harrowing, harrowing, like a little bit of a witchcraft or whatever you call it, with a warlock, with the guy who's like, we know that you don't do it for them, you be quiet for them just to wait the moment to exit, stage left, But for all the good people in your life, just be in present time. Stay there forever. I certainly do. I've never left it. So I can look at my entire life, all the conditioning, and it never was. I can't express this to people around me, and there's no necessity to it, but I can be open for those that are available to it. And that's what we do. So when we get 30, 60 million people doing this in the next few years, and that'll be more than enough to end all the madness, all the conditioning in one quick generation. I've never had any doubt of that. That's why I'm here. That's who I am. That's what you'll do. We're going to fix it. It's our own neighborhood we're cleaning up. This world to the spiritual does not exist. You say there are many paths to the mountaintop, but there are not even paths or a mountaintop. Decondition yourself, talk to God, God will talk to you, I swear to God. I'll be there, Jessica will be there, Master G will be there. We're in the quiet land now. You understand? Forget history, forget anything you ever thought or felt or believed, just drop it all now. Because you've been forced to believe or think this or that. The world, to the spiritual among us, doesn't exist. It never did. It never did to me. But I've been slammed with more stuff than anyone I've ever known. Because you have a high-end genius when you're spiritual. In other words, you can collect so much information. You're like that atomic clock. You can, in a moment, I used to watch I had a place in the woods where I hung up wisteria and the redwood tree going through the living room, giant sequoia going through my bridge, and I would sit there alone. I'd work all day, and then I'd fix everything, put everything together, everything in the woods, and then sit from 4 to 4:45, and then from 6 to 9, just in the Pure Land. In other words, you get all the material stuff out of the way, like we talk about feng shui again. Clean your kitchen, sweep the floor, and then sit quietly. The monks in my Japanese monks in Korea, they would sweep in a circle. In other words, you do concentric circles clockwise, and you turn the energy down. It gets very quiet. In other words, if you can get your hand and you have your own gut and go, I would do it 7 or 13 times. And by the 7th time, there's like a piercing piece that goes through here and a little lower, 13 times, and you'll feel the energy coming out of your hand and quieting your gut. Do it with your thinking mind, boom. My thinking mind, I'm always transcendent of it. Just a little bit of practice, it's wonderful. Exteriorize your concentration on a place on the wall, a picture of something holy on the floor, as a Zen monk would do, and you exteriorize your concentration, if that's a word, and you'll feel it moving out here on there. And after doing it, you'll train yourself to do it a minute or so, or I did it for 20, 30 minutes now and then when I lived in that place in the woods. And you turn yourself inside out, 100,000 spiritual places, and you'll be somewhere that you cannot possibly imagine that is real. And that's you. You're not this person in this world at this time. Drop that. And look at the wonder of your childhood. I can remember being an infant, 5 weeks old, and laying there, my grandmom there, and she was very, very spiritual. And I was trying to communicate to her, and she didn't get it about the sunlight. I was trying to, because I was laying on my back, I happened to be this big, but I was aware of everything. So this conditioning starts hitting you the moment you're born. You did this out of your own volition. You dropped into this hell to help. Before that moment, you were endless, infinite peace and divine awareness, consciousness. That's who you are. That's why I'm being moved to use myself as an example, because I know it is there. I want you to know that it is there. You don't tell people because we're so unimaginably humble inside. So we could use the word shyness. My buddy Ali corrected me on that. He's very spiritual, but he said, no, I'm not shy, but humble, because I realized that he he gets that if you're truly close to God in your heart and soul, you're just happy. And you're aware, and you're capable, and you're kind, and you're considerate. You're also made of steel inside. I know that I am. Right now I'm just letting go of any possible perception of even being here, and this closes down, that closes down. So I'm talking about, do this 7 times, feel the energy coming out from your hand, the beauty around your heart, and it's just sweet. Do this with others. Do this with your pet to begin with. Do that with someone warm. Think of someone you love and just think of putting this calm peace upon them. Or just generate from your heart. To all the pure people in the world, I'll do that now. I can see and feel the hearts and souls of all the pure people in the world. Isn't that wonderful? It's a very delicate perception. It's what the word mysticism is all about. You're aligned with everything good in the universe. This world is an illusion propagated by a force called Satan. It's an actual being that somehow we can't blame God. It is this one place, this one hell, it's it. So all the perception of the world, everything's solid, all the conditioning, whatsoever, including sunlight and fresh air, that's part of it. That's a place where God uses nature to try to bring us back to this openness. It just happened. And when you experience the fullness of mystical experience, which is infinite, this is no big deal, this lifetime. So forget about the books and reincarnation, all that, just drop it. Just be here now. Remember I met that guy in '69, I looked in his eyes and we both had this tremendous experience. He wrote that book, Be Here Now. Anyway, you don't have to take it. I say this in the soul of every decent person we've ever known. I know you don't have to take it. We don't have to take it. We can just become quiet. Teach yourself, train yourself. Do whatever techniques are required. Quiet your breathing. I'll sit in my chair in the day after I've done work here, upper back, and I'll sit for 10 or 20 minutes and I'll just do breathing through the nose where your air is cleansed on the way down. And you train yourself to do it. It might be difficult in the beginning, and after a couple of weeks or a month or 5 minutes, you'll be, you'll breathe through the nose. These are what the yogis do and all that. And this is not about yoga or Buddhism or anything. It's not about anyism or religion or even spirituality. It's mysticism. It's transcendent. You know that feeling when you meet the one you love? Or you see your child, Jessica with her holy little boy, very beautiful young man. And when you have that indication there's something, this is forever. There is nothing, you drop, it's a love and ardor that the whole world disappears in that moment. Imagine having that for God. And in the beginning of mysticism, you'll know that our Father God has that for you, for us. And that presence is available to us all day, every day, around the clock. And there's no clock. Like I say, I used to look at the sundial turning. I'd actually be quiet. The wisteria looked purple hanging down there. And late May, I guess, back in 77, 76. And I could actually see the shadow turning, because you get so quiet, you can do that. You know, with sundial, with it. You'll be able to do all these things. It'll come to you in a different way for all of us. We're all, you know. An open rose before the sun. The most beautiful rose. in the millennial competition. You understand? People used to have contests for the most beautiful rose or flowers. And you win the prize for the most beautiful flowering soul for the millennium. That's who you are to God. That's who you are to you. That's who you are to me. All of us who are spiritual. This conditioning of this world is nothing to get over. It's in you. It's all in perception. And then you'll bring it up and back to work, to home, to family relationships, and you get slammed harder and harder by the thing called the devil, and then eventually you won't give it anything. I've let people work on me for years with all these magical, hateful things coming at him, and I just, without blaming or whatever, just looking. And like I say, you'll have 1,000 insults come at you every day, and it's okay. The rough ones you'll get over, you'll get through, and you'll always learn a lot, and you'll always see that it's from the same source. Mephistopheles, remember with, I forget what Sherlock Holmes called it, Dr. Moriarty, yeah. It was always, no matter what the evil was, he'd see a newspaper, see something wrong in Germany, he's in England, and he'd know it's always the same source, Moriarty. That's just symbolic for the devil in this talk. Give it nothing. It is nothing. It's so infinitesimal. And this beauteous presence is inestimable. It's the wonder of it is you. Thank you for listening. God bless your daily meditations. Thank you.